Hello, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content at Informa Pharma Intelligence's Insights portfolio. We're here at the Biotech Showcase in San Francisco. It runs alongside the JP Morgan meeting, where lots of the sort of biotech companies, specialty pharma companies, come to have partnering conversations. I'm joined by Carl Sterritt, who's the Chief Executive of Shield Therapeutics, which is a 6-year-old specialty pharma company that recently was floated.
Yes.
So, and you guys actually have got a product.
We do. Revenue generating.
Which is sort of quite remarkable. So could you sort of give us a sort of an outline of the sort of the sort of the company's sort of business model? What are you actually striving to do at Shield?
So we have a product called Feraccru, which we believe can be the backbone for a whole franchise. It's a treatment for iron deficiency anemia, and that disease is prevalent in a whole range of morbidities. So we're looking to build a multi-channel, multi-product, multinational specialty pharmaceutical business where there are products that are complementary to Feraccru, perhaps in our lead indication, which is in anemia in inflammatory bowel disease, so GI products, but also in renal and cardiology, and the plethora of indications where anemia is a problem.
So the label at the moment for what indication?
It's pretty narrow. It's for the treatment of anemia in adults with inflammatory bowel disease, and that reflects the phase 3 development we did a few years back, which led to an approval for the product in February of last year.
Right, okay. And where did that product originate from?
So the technology comes out of work done at the University of London at St Thomas's Hospital with a bunch of physicians who had a significant problem with IBD patients because they had to give them, they all generally develop anemia, and they had to treat them with the existing oral ferrous iron products, which have very significant side effects. Or they move them to intravenous iron, which is clearly quite invasive. It's a major impact upon a patient's life. So they were trying to develop an alternative oral agent that was well absorbed, had very few adverse events, and also obviously increased hemoglobin to a significant degree.
Right. So what's now the sort of the potential for Feraccru? I mean, you said you're looking sort of to expand its indications.
Sure. Yeah. So ultimately, I think it's anemia is anemia is anemia. Doesn't really matter what your primary disease is, largely. So over time, as we develop additional data, so we're doing 2 pivotal studies at the moment, which will lead to, if successful, will lead to a broader indication for the drug. So if I look at the IBD market in Europe and the US, from a patient numbers perspective, there's probably in the region of a couple of million patients who have a treatable anemia related to their IBD symptoms. But actually, if I looked at the broad market, be it cardiology, nephrology, the elderly, oncology, etc., there's more like 35 million patients. So the market opportunity is huge.
So, but Shield is a small company, so how can you service that many patients?
Yeah, so that was really one of the reasons we went public. The public markets provided us with that initial dose of capital to start to expand our commercial operations. So we already have, we went public less than a year ago. We have commercial operations and sales in the UK and in Germany already, and we're looking to expand that into the other major markets of Europe, and then eventually, as we go for regulatory approval in the US, then the US will become a target for us. Outside of those core markets, we use a strategy of licensing, so using in-country specialists that have an interest in a product like this.
So do you have any partners for the product at the moment?
We do. So we have, for Central and Eastern Europe, we have a partnership with a company called AOP, which is a pharmaceutical company based out of Vienna in Austria. And we're in active discussions across a range of territories to try and license, well, not try, we will license the product across a number of countries.
Okay, so over the sort of coming 12 months, what have you told your investors that they can expect from Shield?
I think the key thing for us is to prove that the commercial opportunity is there. So we've made a good start, we've got salespeople on the ground, we're seeing prescriptions come in, and I think very early days, but I think what we're seeing is when a prescriber can prescribe the product from a reimbursement perspective, then we're seeing the prescriptions. So for us in the early days of that launch phase, it's about getting through the glue that is the pricing and reimbursement process in certain countries.
So, and you mentioned that you have the ambition to become a sort of a multi-product specialty pharma company. So how are you, sourcing those assets, and what kind of assets are you looking for?
So specialty products, so products that would the therapy or the patients would be seen by hospital-based physicians generally. They may end up being ambulatory patients where their GP continues the care but initiated in a hospital setting. And product-wise, things that are complementary to the indication that Feraccru has. We also have, for example, our second asset is a treatment for hyperphosphatemia, which is a complication of end-stage renal disease. Anemia is a complication of end-stage renal disease. So there's a raft of nephrology products that we could also go after. And it's places like this actually. We have a BD team in place, and that team is very active at meetings like this and at Bio, and I think also it's quite interesting when you get a product licensed and when you're a public company, it's quite interesting how much inbound there is. When we were a small private company with no product approved, you're having to go searching for everything. But it's quite interesting how the tables turn.
So what's the market cap of the company at the moment?
We're about 180 million pounds, so about $250 US.
Okay.
So we're pretty small.
So so getting to the next stage would be 500 million or $1 billion. What do you think you need to do to get to there?
Well, I think there's a range of strategy. With Feraccru itself, there's organic growth, but that's clearly probably a longer term project. So to shortcut that or to leapfrog it is M&A. We've made it clear in public announcements to our shareholders that we're actively looking at a number of opportunities. They have to be very much symbiotic for us. So it's got to be the right deal, not just any deal. But I think that's the way to go.
And do you have the sort of resources to be able to do that, or would you do it with paper? Or
yeah, I think that's one of the reasons for having a public listing. That clearly we don't have the financial resources to do a significant deal, so we would look to use equity or paper to construct something. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, good luck with your hunting for assets.
Thank you very much.
And deals. Thanks for joining us, Carl.